Welcome back to Pro League, guys. It is all tied up 1-1 between SKT and KT, the two telecom company teams.
Yep.
Telecom Wars.
That's
Going
what,
strong.
That's what it means. That's why we call it that. I got a lot of tweets about that today. I think you did as well. Roll the dice. That may be what SKT has to do here. That's definitely what this guy has to do here, apparently. But you can win prizes if you guess the die correctly, I believe. Like, what if you just like guess randomly like what it's going to be and you just happen to have that, you could win a prize.
That guy's on camera there. He doesn't even notice.
His hair looks fine.
His hair does look fine. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah. So I think he shouldn't have anything to worry about. It's kind of rude, but he didn't know, so I don't put anything against him. Yeah. All right. It's time to find out. I think I saw a glimpse.
Yeah, we saw a glimpse of a player down there, but who exactly is it going to be?
Sorry. I don't know about this one.
I don't know, man. To be honest, I really don't know. I guess this could just be a snipe pick.
Yeah, that's absolutely
for stats. It has to be.
Yeah.
Like,
and the map is going to be merry-go-round, as we mentioned before, but we saw this guy win a cheese build against Curious, proxying Reapers on Expedition Lost, actually. But I don't... What kind of build can he do like that on this map? If he's just going to try to play a straight-up game versus stats, this may be Oov's biggest mistake.
Yeah. They're going to have to not use one of, like, Classic, Sue, or Innovation. They lose one of those picks now, and that's probably the next three players that could possibly come out. You know, they even have Dream, like another Terran player that could have come out, but instead they choose to use Sorry, and it has to be a snipe pick. It has to be.
It has to be. Sorry has already won that snipe pick against Curious, but Stats is on like he's on 4 higher levels than Curious is right now. Like or Curious. Yeah,
because
so Curious.
Sorry beat him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I mean, you could cheese Curious maybe and beat him. But this isn't a cheese map. This is a 3-player map. And this has got to be terrifying for Sorry. He's got to be so nervous right now. I don't agree with this choice personally, but we have to wait and see how it unfolds really before we can really pass judgment.
Got to see the builds. You know, the map is merry-go-round. It's a 3-player map. It is possible you could see some kind of cheese coming out here from Sorry. But looking at the way that Stats held it last time, I think he's just got to play safe here in the beginning. He's going to be totally fine if it's anything like that.
So Stats did type a lot of the emotion of being scared in the chat, and presumably after he was told who his opponent was. He's very surprised by this, as I think many people are. Now that vote is ongoing here. I'm really curious to see who's actually going to, you know, how many people are going to vote for Sorry here.
Yeah, that's the question. It's like not how close it's going to be or, you know, who's going to win. It's like how many people actually vote for
My
Sorry.
prediction is 92% plus for Stats. 92 plus.
I'd say 95.
95? All right, let's see how this one goes. It's like actually turns
Could
out to
do
be
it like the price is right. I just like, no, I think it's going to be 93% or plus more, so I'm closer.
It's got to be like 101% actually for Stats.
Well, guys, this is going to be an interesting one. We're going to jump into this straight away on merry-go-round. It's going to be Sorry up here, the pick. Probably a sniper pick for Stats. Stats, he looked good against the Cheese of Dark. Sorry here, looking a little bit stressed. Probably does have something prepared. We got to wait and see what it is.
Execution is everything right now. He has to let that stress leave his body as he prepares for this one. The lobby is now open and ready. Any moment now, player's going to press that start button, and we are going to go into this. It's just got to be so stressful for Sorry, who's a new player on the scene. He's been in SKT for a while, but just finally now getting put on TV. Let's jump into game number 3. Sorry versus Stats here in our playoffs.
Up here in the top right in the orange for SK Telecom T1, it is Sorry.
His opponent down in the bottom and middle in red and Stats for KT Rolster. Spawning here at 2-6. So I mean, on this map, it's basically got rotational symmetry, so spawning locations don't really matter. You know, we've seen players proxy a lot on this map, notably Maru, TY, Dream as well, every now and then. Normal depot.
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for like some kind of crazy 2-racks to come out here. I don't think he can actually do that because it's too predictable. You know what I mean?
I don't know what the plan is, though. If he really thinks he can challenge stats in a straight-up TVP, I just can't imagine that that is actually going to work.
Sari must have been practicing this matchup for like 3 weeks. He's like, okay, it looks like, well, he's like, if you're going up against any Protoss, you're going to be the guy that is coming out here. It's got to be something like that.
Reaper positioning here for the barracks. We're going to see that gas in just a moment. I feel like, you know, I don't know. Even if he goes mech, I'd be okay with it because it's something out of the ordinary. Maybe he's like really specialized in some sort of other style we haven't seen yet. Maybe he's one of those players like we've seen TY do in the past, where he's just adding siege tanks into his bio and he's like found a way to make it work in the meta that no one's really ready for yet. Maybe something like that. Maybe he's really good at Widowmine drops.
Yeah, could be. But already out of the gate here, Stats doing something a little bit different. He's not going for that standard, you know, 1 gas into expand here. He's going to go for 2 gas, so we're going to see some tech out of him.
Yeah. And we do see 75% for Stats, so we were a bit, I guess we're a bit favored on that. I guess a lot of T1 fans probably voting for Sari regardless.
I would assume so, yeah. Especially here in Korea, very fanatic about their team.
Yeah, for sure. We see no Reaper, but the Marine coming out. As we were talking about earlier, the barracks made me feel he was going to go for Reapers, but
I mean, he's still getting that gas, so it is going to be some kind of tech up from him as well.
Looks like a quick Widowmine drop. That's what I'm starting to feel here. But only 2 in gas, no, so not like the quickest gas, but a fairly quick one. And it wasn't gas first or anything like that, so it's a fairly conservative tech build, so maybe he's going to jump into a CC right after. We got a student here.
She was so scared, man. So scared.
Let's watch this SCV. Not this SCV, the other SCV observer, the one in the middle of the map. Like, is he going to hide a factory? I think he might.
Yeah. And what we see out of Stats actually is not some kind of, you know, quick tech as you would see in PvP. It's just very, very safe. You get a very quick Mothership Core as well as a Stalker. It's good for shutting down scouts. And just for being safe in general in your own base. Did he actually cancel that Stalker? Because I don't see it anymore.
Yeah, he did. He didn't see an SCV, so he's like, I guess I don't need this.
Too much hype. I don't even know who to cheer for, so I will just cheer for OGaming TV.
OGaming TV, by the way, a huge French site that brings a lot of coverage for esports all around the world. And shouts to Pomfitude for doing that.
Yeah, shout out to them. And that probe did not get the scout there on the CC. So it's a little bit of information that Stats is missing.
Yeah, that's really important. Now, the factory gets placed in the main. I was wondering if he was going to hide that, especially because he turned the SCV around right away. But with this opening with the Oracle, he's going to try to keep Sari in his base. And he can follow up with a Phoenix, which actually shuts down drops really hard and also helps you lift up Widowmines, for example. So it could turn out to be that this opening with the Stargate is great here for Stats. He doesn't have a lot of damage, though, despite you know, going for this kind of opening in his base. Like, he only has 1 gateway. He only has 1 Stalker, soon to be 2. So, you know, powering down those Widowmines and, like, breaking them before they actually fire is going to be quite a challenge. Probably going to have to use Nexus Cannon for that.
Yeah. We did see 1 Widowmine popping out here for Sari, but it looks like it's going down to the top of the natural ramp. So it could definitely be out of position. Oh, actually, it's going down here to the bottom of that natural ramp, so it's not going to be anywhere near the main. Where are those Marines? They're kind of in position, not quite in the mineral line, but they're out there. They're waiting.
Yep. And, he gets a few shots out before that even gets activated. And Stats is just going to want to scout here and then leave because he's not going to get much damage done. Some good pokes there, that stutter step. He's actually going to fight these Marines as well, but got to be careful with that. Down to 26 health.
Oh, man. He is living on the edge, man. Any other Protoss player would have just, like, flown out of the base. He's like, okay, I got to keep this alive, you know.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
There you go. Oracle goes down.
You know, we were kind of trying to paint Sari as a mastermind here. But I do start to get that feel a little bit and how he's moving his units here and how he's prepared for the kind of play that we've seen from Stats a lot of the time in this matchup. So let's see how he continues to play this out. He gets a Raven first, and that's going to help him clear up any observers to keep Stats guessing about what he's going to do next. And, you know, he doesn't have a ton of barracks powered up just yet. Only the one. And he's adding 2 more. So he's pure Marine right now. No upgrades, no stim. Just now getting his eBay finished up so he can start getting the +1 and get some safety turrets. And he's going to get some medevacs out. But, you know, he shut that harassment down pretty well.
Yeah, he did for sure. Just very interesting play out of both players. Enjoying this game very much so far. Looks like Stats moving on the map now. Maybe just wants to clean up that Widowmine that's out there. He may assume it's still out there. He's sending that Observer right now straight to the front. He's got 2 Stalkers. Should be enough to clean it up if Sari doesn't have some units out there.
Yeah, and that may be part of what this Raven is designed to do, is just come out and pick this off. But it looks like he's just hiding in the main base, hoping to snipe it and stop any scouts. And the Widowmine could actually just pick up and walk away. I'm surprised he's not doing that. Just going to let it go. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, Phoenix is coming out across the map as well. And this Raven needs to be careful. In fact, he's probably going to lose that. I was just dropping an auto turret.
Oh, my God.
There's nothing he could have done there. I mean, quite literally, Phoenix has just beat Ravens like that.
Yeah, that was kind of sad there for the turn. I don't know, man. Like, he just, like, swooped in and, like, took his baby and ran away.
Yeah. That's not what he was looking to get, but, I mean, he is definitely going to check for it. He wants to just keep the Terran in his base so he can get his Forge upgrades out and get a 3rd base and build his Colossi up with very few gates. He's sticking with just 3 for now, and he doesn't need any more than that. He's getting a cannon up just to be safe as well. And now that he's cleared up that Raven, he can send his Observer in here and get some additional information. He's actually going to find maybe a gas SCV. No, not quite.
I think he could have. Maybe just wants to be a bit careful there. Just save his Phoenixes for now. He's just got them kind of in position to shut down any drops that come over there on the right side of the map. He will scout this big move out from the Terran with his Observer. He's actually going to follow that army.
Oh, boy. That's so important to save that Pro to make sure to get that Nexus up. That was close. It's actually a very large Terran army. Range is only halfway done. He does have a Colossus. I think he's going to have to pull his Phoenixes back to help defend. And both players start their expansions at identical timings. He's committed to 5 Phoenixes here, Stats has, but that's where he stops. So he's going to want to pick up Marauders. And, you know, if he can just straight engage those medevacs, if we can find a way to pick at them, that's definitely going to be good for him, too.
He's actually continuing with the Phoenixes, as you say. That he stopped there at 5, but something's making him go for more. Maybe just putting a little bit of a stop there to get some other units out, maybe some tech. You know, he puts down that Twilight Council. But yeah, he's going to continue with that, so it looks like we'll see a bit of a Phoenix Colossus comp. Yeah.
And, you know, we have seen this become popular again in Korea a little bit. Players like Myungshik liking to do it. We've seen Stats do it already before. But this has been scouted, obviously. You saw the Phoenixes. He doesn't know how many there are in total. But right now, we do see the double starport commitment to get the Vikings to actually be able to deal with this. And we are definitely going to see a bigger commitment here with the +1 now on the way for those Phoenixes. He's continuing to produce them nonstop here.
Nice little pickup there. That was the scouting Marine that tells all the info he needs to know. He's going to see all 6 Phoenixes. Ooh, nice scan there to spot that Observer. It was funny that Sari had like a pretty decent amount of units, but he just like wasn't ready to go for the attack. And once he saw Stats going for an expand, he just went for his own. It really shows kind of confidence from Sari. He's like, yeah, I can take you in a later game. I don't really need to put on so much pressure right now. Let's go at it, Stats. Let's do this.
I want to point out that Stats is doing something here that we saw Zest do, I believe, or it may have been Stats, actually. I can't remember. It was who did on Sejong, where he made 4 cans as natural. We've seen this again here with just 3 cans at this location. I can't remember the exact Protoss. It might have been Zest. It might have been Stats. I think it was a KT Protoss, though. Regardless, I like to see this a lot more because it just totally makes you feel so secure. You can keep most of your forces at your third. Oh, he's pulling the boys. He's actually going to try to just break this.
And this is a great map for it, you know, just to be honest. There's so much room at that 3rd base, but Stats immediately, he is pulling off of that 3rd base. He may just let it go.
Yeah, I think he's just going to let it go. He doesn't know that his opponent has a 3rd, but seeing this many SCVs pulled, you're still going to be fine if you lose your base. Mothership Core in a very dangerous position right now, actually. So dangerous to have that Mothership Core there. If the Vikings saw it, it would be picked off in a second. Okay, he's coming over. Can he get sniped? Oh my god, he doesn't notice it. Okay, he's going to get that Nexus cannon off. Probes come off the line as well. Great time warp on top of this army. Zealots close the gap here even without charge. And there's so many Colossi, and the Phoenixes are just stopping those Vikings. But does he have enough Zealots on the ground? He's got a few cannons here.
That's the question. He's trying to micro that Colossus back. He needs to keep them alive right now. There's not enough support there. There's 3 cannons, funnily enough, actually helping out in the fight. and the Colossi stay alive. He's just barely going to hold this off.
And now he's going to wreck every single one of these medevacs on retreat with the Phoenixes. That was a razor-thin hold here, and he scans the base, which, by the way, is still alive. And that is actually going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. The last of the reinforcements here need to turn around before they get obliterated by those Phoenixes. No more production here with the SCVs he's lost. He's now down to 32.
These cannons, man, they were trying to do a completely different job, but they help out here. And, yeah, it's not looking good for Sari at this moment in time. I wouldn't say it's completely game right now, but he's got a long way to go here to pull himself out of this one. With this many Phoenixes still alive, out on the map, just holding complete map control, forcing Sari back to his base.
With the resources that now Stats is committing to rebuilding his probe count, as well as getting enough Zealots on the map, he's going for Archons here, which I like a lot. Because his opponent, he knows he has the answer for mass Colossi, and he's trying to make Vikings help deal with these Phoenix as well. So he's just going to switch to Archons and say, all right, yeah, I'm going to make a few more Colossi, but Archons are your big problem here. You're not going to have any answer for those. You don't have Ghosts. Look at this. 6 SCVs. Every single SCV at that base is dead.
And I think like 2 or 3 mules as well. So that's a lot of Sari's mining right now. He's pretty much on 2 base at this moment in time.
You're going to notice his production, if you look at the production tab, he gets stifled hard. And here come those Archons. 4 High Templar to start. Just to get those 2 Archons out. And, you know, he's just building his probe count so easily, so comfortably, because he already has that saturation. He's already got a much better worker count. And he's just going to spend gas on Archons and minerals on Zealots. And he's not going to care about the Vikings. He's going to lift a lot of things up that he has to deal with, like fighting those Marauders or perhaps even any medevacs that come across the map. He's still got those Phoenixes. He can actually just fight pretty soon, in fact.
Yeah, he's just taking it slow. He's taking it very, very slow. He's putting on some forward pylons, actually, right now that Sari has not spotted. And that is pretty far forward. It's going to be a great place to reinforce. Oh, man.
Zealots and Archons. More and more of them. 2 Archons more. We'll put him up to 4 Archons versus a mostly Marine comp while he has 3 Colossi. And if he targets the Colossi, his Vikings are going to fall out of the sky so fast with these Archons and Phoenixes firing at them. And the occasional Stalker here and there. He's got an Immortal on the way, in fact, back at home, because he's just totally trying to switch out of this Colossus composition into a much more terrifying Protoss army.
He sends 2 Zealots over to the 3rd base. I don't even think it matters at this point. He wants to shut down Sari hardcore. Here we go. Zealots in the front. Colossi in the back are being targeted down, but just like you said, not enough Vikings here to deal with that. And even a Proxy Nexus trying to get up here.
GG.
GG.
Those Archons, with that many Archons on top of Bio and Vikings, every shot those Archons fire is like a Scythe Storm. I mean, he's hitting the Vikings and the Bio with those shots. So much splash damage, way too much to handle.
Yeah. And again, this just comes back to the pick here from Sari to go up against Stats. Like we were saying before, one of KT's best players probably out there with life, and especially in Pro League. This guy is just on fire, and to send out someone like Sari who just does not have the experience just yet to face this guy, I think it's a bit questionable.
I think so as well. Like, sometimes when you see a matchup where one player is favored, like, for example, the last match we just saw with Dark, you're like, okay, well, Dark did his job already. I wouldn't pick Dark against Stats, but I look at Dark's build, and I'm like, okay, this is a great build. This is a really well-thought-out idea. When I look at Sari's play just there, I'm just not seeing it. I mean, he had a good, solid defense against the Oracle opening.
Good early game. But then once you go into mid-game and with the boys pull, I'm just like, okay, you know, any other Terran could have done this. You could send out Innovation to do this even, and maybe even execute it a little bit better. But Stats, just a perfect reaction. Immediately when he saw that, he knew what he had to do. He pulls back to his natural. He's like, okay, I can sacrifice my 3rd. It's totally fine. I've got cannons over there at that 2nd, at the natural. And let me remind you guys, that was a razor-thin hold, as he put it. He just barely kept those 2 Colossi alive. Really nice micro, and just barely enough to pull him through there. Yeah, but a win's a win.
A win's a win, and just because Sari committed that way, he had a 3rd base. Had he killed the 3rd base first and then tried to engage, it would have been a tougher engagement. Maybe he could have pulled back in transition, but if you're just going to skip the 3rd entirely and hit it the natural and your opponent pulls back like that and you lose the fight, he's got more probes than you, and he's got better saturation. He's got 3 bases. He's got Colossi. You got to make Vikings, but he already won the fight. He's got Phoenix. He's just killing all of your medevacs. 8-0-7-2. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. We're going to be going into Overgrowth here. And SKT, they need another answer for stats. We haven't seen it yet. It wasn't Dark. It wasn't Sorry. And like I said before, I guess there's maybe 3 or 4 players you can pick from here. Sue, Innovation, Classic, and Dream, possibly. I think Dream is the least likely.
I want to say Classic and Innovation myself. I would have picked Classic going into that one. I would not have picked the Terran on that map, and I would have not picked Sorry, definitely not. But
I was thinking Classic or Sue. I think both of those are okay. I don't know how Sue's doing. He's doing well in Pro League, but how's he feeling today? Does he want to come out here? Like you were saying, he's one of their best players right now, and he's doing really well. But do you have a matchup for him to play? Do you think he can get 1 or 2 wins in a row? I think so. And I don't know. I think I would pick Sue over Classic at this moment in time.
I don't like sending a player out to ZVP against stats with how good his pros versus Zerg has looked recently. Not like because of Dark's game at all. That's totally unrelated. I mean, that was just a hold of an all-in. But you know, the fact of the matter is, I feel like recently Sue has shown a ton of games. He won some impressive games in Challenger, but you know, he's talked about how he's had a girlfriend. You know, he's talked about how he took a break for a while. I feel like you don't put him on the stage. You let him just continue practicing for his individual leagues he's been working on, and you send one of your heavy Pro League hitters out right here. Innovation would be a great choice, but I think they might want to save him until the end. And I think Classic's
great. In
Classic's
PvP.
my pick.
He's doing very well. And I do agree with you for now, the situation we're in now where SKT is down 1-2. I think Classic, you have to put him out here. But then again, you lose that pick of Sue, and that's just so detrimental to their lineup right now.
Sure.
I think they needed him. And I think the right choice would have been Classic the map before, you know, not Sorry.
Exactly.
just to be honest, I'm like, I think it should have been Classic. Then you got Sue and Innovation to back you up if you can't take out stats.
I just can't even believe. I mean, I know Sorry is a great player, and he has actually been discussed as being one of the best ladder players, as well as does really well in
I think
house.
he's got great potential.
Yeah,
he's shown it before, but
he definitely does. But this is not the stage for it.
Yeah.
Or if you are going to use him, use him against a Zerg and let him do a crazy proxy build or something he's really prepared and really